most important things, one of the most important assets that a technology company can have, and it drives a lot of long-term value. And when we talk about data, we're kind of talking generally about two things. The first is, what are users providing? Email addresses, zip codes, their preferences. And then what are users doing that you're tracking? Things like their web browsing history or their purchase history. And all of that stuff actually can build value for your company. But you need to be really careful when you're doing a deal to make sure you understand how it's going to get used, how it's going to get stored, and all of those other components. I think the three main things that I always look at when I'm talking about data with my technology partners, first and foremost, is compliance. How are we complying with all the laws and regulations around data? You need to really figure out what are you doing to notify users about what data is being collected, how it's going to be used, where it's going to be stored. You need to make sure that you are compliant with privacy policies, personal information acts, laws and regulations that govern use of email addresses, bank accounts. All of that stuff is really important in a technology contract to make sure that you have a clear understanding of how it's getting done and how it's being protected. Next thing I always look at after we've got the data, the compliance issue sorted out, is the usage. In the partnership, who's going to use that data and how? Who has the rights to use it? Who has the rights to collect it? And how are they going to use it? Are they going to be able to email my users? Am I going to be able to store all their web browsing history and use it to predict and recommend new products to them? All of those components deliver value, and you need to make sure that you've clarified them in a contract. The next thing is related to that really is ownership. Not only who uses it, but who owns the data, both during the contract and then after the termination, because that can deliver long-term value for you. If you have a set of data, a set of assets that you can continue to use in your company, you can make sure that between the two partners it's very clear how that's going to lay out. So I think when you think about data, you need to think first and foremost that it is a source of value for your company, and you need to have a real clear understanding of all of the issues around compliance, usage, and ownership to understand not only how you're going to deliver value now, but in the future for your company and for your partner.